The Los Angeles Dodgers just lost a series to the Miami Marlins, and before anyone says anything, let that sentence sit for a moment. Not a close series, not a hard-fought battle against a dangerous opponent. A series lost to a team currently sitting with one of the worst records in all of Major League Baseball, and the number that makes this even harder to process: 3 runs, 18 innings. That is the total offensive output from one of the most loaded lineups in the sport across the final stretch of this series. 3 runs in 18 innings from a roster built to compete for a World Series championship. That number is not a slump statistic. That number is a warning sign. And on top of all of this, while the offense was going completely cold on the field, the front office was making a roster move, acquiring a player with a very specific backstory that every Dodger fan needs to hear. 2 stories are on the table today, and neither one of them is simple. Now, before going any further, Liam Hicks is not a name that lived in anybody's head before this series began. He's not an all-star. He's not a household name. He is a Miami Marlins player who had not made a significant impact on the broader baseball conversation heading into this matchup. And yet, he hit a home run, his second in as many games, to put Miami on the board first and set the tone for everything that followed. That early deficit immediately put pressure on a Dodgers offense that was already showing signs of inconsistency. The game had barely started, and the Dodgers were already playing from behind. Before breaking down exactly how this game unfolded play by play, it is worth pausing here because Baseball Daily is on a mission right now. This channel is pushing toward its first 500 subscribers, and every single person watching this video is part of making that happen. If you follow real baseball analysis, honest breakdowns, and fact-based coverage with no filler, subscribe right now. Drop a like on this video, leave a comment below, and share this with another baseball fan in your life. It takes 10 seconds and it directly helps this channel keep delivering this kind of content. Now back to the Dodgers, because the story gets more complicated from here. Tyler Glasnow took the mound for Los Angeles and delivered. That needs to be stated clearly and without qualification. Glasnow pitched 5.2 innings, gave up 2 runs, both on solo home runs, and struck out 9 batters, 9 strikeouts in a losing effort. And sitting inside that performance is a milestone that deserves its own moment of recognition. After that outing, Glasnow stands just 1 strikeout away from 1,000 career strikeouts. That is a significant achievement in any pitcher's career, and it belongs in the conversation regardless of the team's result. The pitching on this day was not the problem. Glasnow did his job. The offense did not do theirs. After Hicks put Miami ahead early, the Dodgers responded. Mookie Betts led off with a double against Sandy Alcantara, and then Alex Call drove him in on a pop-up that dropped in the infield due to the sun. It was not a clean hit. It was not a highlight reel moment, but it tied the game and it counted. A run is a run. The problem was what came next: silence. The kind of silence that signals a lineup that is disconnected from its own potential. The bats went quiet, and they stayed quiet far longer than they should have. In the 5th inning, Esteury Ruiz stepped into the batter's box. Ruiz is not just any Marlins player. Ruiz is a former Dodger, a player who once wore Los Angeles blue, and he delivered a solo home run to put Miami back in front. Losing runs to former players carries a specific weight that goes beyond the scoreboard. It is a reminder of roster decisions made, of players who moved on, and of the fact that baseball has no loyalty to memory. That home run stung. The stadium knew it. The players knew it, but the Dodgers did not fold. Kyle Tucker led off the 6th inning with a double, and Dalton Rushing followed with a single to right field that scored him and tied the game again. That was a significant moment. That was exactly the kind of situational hitting this lineup is built to produce. For a stretch of time in that 6th inning, it genuinely felt like the Dodgers were turning the series around and reclaiming control of a game that had been slipping away from them. Then came the 8th inning, and the silence returned. Xavier Edwards singled, worked his way to second base, and Javier Sanoja followed with a single to right field to score him. One quiet inning on the Dodgers' end, one sequence of plays, and just like that, Miami had the lead back. The margin was small, but the momentum had completely shifted. The Dodgers were running out of innings, and their offense had once again gone cold at the worst possible moment. The bottom of the 9th arrived, and the situation was right there for the taking. Runners on 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. The game was not over. 1 hit, a single, a sac fly, anything in play, and the Dodgers tie it. The entire stadium understood what was at stake, and the Miami Marlins made a decision in that moment that said everything about where this series stood. They intentionally walked Shohei Ohtani. They chose to put the best hitter in baseball on first base rather than pitch to him with the game on the line. That is a level of respect that very few players in the history of this sport have commanded. The opposing team would rather load the bases and face someone else than let Ohtani have a chance to end it. What followed was a ground ball double play to end the game. The series was over. The Dodgers lost. And the way they lost, with runners in scoring position, with the opposing team actively afraid of their best player and still unable to produce a single run, is the detail that cannot be brushed aside. 3 runs in 18 innings is the number. That number is the story. A lineup featuring Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Kyle Tucker produced 3 runs across 18 innings of baseball. That production level does not reflect the talent on that roster. It reflects an offense that is currently operating far below its actual capability. The standings now show the Los Angeles Dodgers tied with the San Diego Padres at the top of the NL West. The Dodgers have dropped 2 of their last 3 series. The division lead that felt comfortable and established weeks ago has narrowed to nothing. The Padres are now right there at the same record, breathing directly into the division race. This is no longer a comfortable position. This is a situation that demands an immediate offensive response. An off day gives the roster time to reset, and the St. Louis Cardinals series on Friday at 5:15 p.m. Pacific is the next opportunity for this lineup to prove what it is actually capable of. While all of that was unfolding on the field, the Dodgers front office was not standing still. The organization announced a trade with the Toronto Blue Jays, acquiring infielder and outfielder Tyler Fitzgerald in exchange for cash considerations. On the surface, some will immediately categorize this as a depth move and move past it. That would be a mistake because the backstory behind where Fitzgerald comes from changes the conversation entirely. Tyler Fitzgerald did not build his MLB career in Toronto. He spent his entire 3-year Major League career with the San Francisco Giants, the Los Angeles Dodgers' most historic and deeply hated division rival. The blue and orange, AT&T Park, the rivalry that defines the NL West. The Dodgers just pulled a player directly from that organization and brought him to Los Angeles. That detail matters. What does Fitzgerald actually bring to this roster? Over 3 seasons with San Francisco, he slashed .252 batting average, .309 on-base percentage, and .430 slugging percentage. He hit 21 home runs and drove in 53 RBI. These are not all-star caliber numbers, and no honest analyst would present them as such. But for a player who can cover multiple positions across both the infield and the outfield, that production represents exactly the kind of flexible, experienced depth that contending teams need when rosters begin shifting in the second half of a season. Versatility at the MLB level is not a minor asset. It is something teams actively seek and frequently cannot find. According to reporter Katie Wu, Fitzgerald will report to AAA Oklahoma City first. He is not arriving in the big league dugout tomorrow. This is not a move designed to solve the current offensive struggles overnight. This is organizational depth management, adding a capable MLB experience piece before the need for one becomes urgent. Smart front offices do not wait until a roster crisis forces their hand. They build their depth before the moment of need arrives. To create space on the 40-man roster for Fitzgerald, the Dodgers placed right-handed pitcher Landon Knack on the 60-day injured list. Knack has been managing a right intercostal strain, an injury he originally suffered in the bullpen on March 13. Placing him on the 60-day IL is a meaningful organizational commitment. It signals that the Dodgers are not rushing Knack back and are prioritizing a full and proper recovery over short-term roster flexibility. This move was anticipated given the timeline of the injury. The execution of it now aligns directly with the need created by the Fitzgerald acquisition. Placing both stories side by side, the series loss and the front office move produces a clear picture. The offensive numbers from this series are unacceptable and the organization knows it. 3 runs in 18 innings from this roster is not a variance issue. It is a performance issue that requires an honest internal response from the players in that lineup. The talent is present. Shohei Ohtani is being intentionally walked in the 9th inning of tie games because opposing managers genuinely fear facing him. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Kyle Tucker. This is not a lineup that should produce 3 runs across 18 innings. The players in that clubhouse understand the standard this roster is held to. At the same time, the front office is functioning exactly as it should. The Dodgers identified a need, addressed it proactively, managed the roster responsibly, and acquired a player with real MLB experience and genuine organizational versatility. This is not panic. This is preparation. The Cardinals series on Friday now carries additional weight. It is not simply the next series on the schedule. It is the first real opportunity for this offense to respond publicly to what happened against the Marlins, to demonstrate that 3 runs in 18 innings was an aberration and not a pattern. The pitching staff is holding. The front office is building. The roster has the talent. What is missing right now is offensive production from a lineup that is capable of delivering it on any given night. The NL West race is tied. The Padres are watching. The Cardinals are next. And the Dodgers offense has a very specific question to answer starting Friday at 5:15 p.m. Pacific. If you made it to the end of this breakdown, share this video right now with any Dodger fan or baseball follower in your life. Does this Fitzgerald trade make the Dodgers better by the second half? And what does this offense need to fix before the division race gets completely out of hand? Drop your answer in the comments below. Tell us exactly what you think needs to change. The conversation is happening right there, and if you enjoy real baseball content and honest breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next on Baseball Daily. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and we will see you in the next one.